Good morning, everyone. The today's class of robotics will be dealing with the present, the previous, and the futuristic kind of robotic applications, which is playing a major role in the industrial sector. Coming to the basic synonym, let's call it an abstract, which we will be learning in the today's class in detail regarding the history, the present scenario, on what basis the robotics has been working in a wide range of applications in industrial sector as well as the different types of sectors, either in the medical fields, analysis fields, detection fields, etc. And what are the different types of technologies has been implemented so far when compared to the ancient history, and what are the new technologies that are in the analysis which will be implemented in the nearest future for better way of working conditions, or else increasing of the productivity in industries with the high accuracy, high quantity maintenance. And the main point here we need to examine is that limiting the manpower and increasing the machinery power, and that too with greater efficiency ratio by decreasing the economical constraint. So economy should be decreased, applications will be coming into the live sector when the economical ratio has been satisfied and high efficiency than the existing conditions has been achieved. Here we are utilizing these techniques, we call this robotic kind of techniques, and we'll be discussing related to the wide range of applications in the automobile sector and oil and gas industries. And the huge technology development is existing presently and even increasing upon research oriented agitation in the nearest future, as we have discussed, will lead to the impact on the decrementing of the human power. See here, we have a detailed, we calling as this hint here, impact on human labor. So there's a greater hint that has been provided that human power, in the sense, for each and every shift, the change of workers need to be erased for machining conditions, manipulating as per the design criteria. But whereas the machinery, in the sense, by utilizing the programming technique or else the instructions that we'll be calling as commands will be given in the form of a program to the systemic device that itself will operate until and unless if at all a maintenance activity is necessary. Nothing but programming pitches input material continuously supply చేస్తూ ఉంటే automatically as per the programming the working conditions అనేవి జరిగిపోతూ ఉంటాయి. But human power, in the sense, it should be limited, or it will be limited gradually up to 6 hours of shift workings or 8 hours of shift workings or a maximum of 10 hours of work hours timings. But actually there will be three different shifts for each and every 8 hours. The shift will be getting changed by exercising some minimal breaks within the industry. Whereas it leads an high amount of human involvement in the working area. So in order to decrease that, for example, if the production ratio within that particular shift of 8 hours has been overcome with the quantity of production, for example, 1,000 products. So 8 hours shift లో 100 members of labor ఒక 1,000 products prepare చేశారు. Whereas in this robotic technology, the same programming has been given to the system. It may done or it may work by increasing its quantity within that 8 hours of shift without that much of human labor within the industry. Nothing but maybe of 25 members of human power is sufficient. You need to observe what is the process that is going on and whether the process is going in a correct manner or not, whether the given functionalities has been placing in a correct way or not. But here the skillful workers are necessary, because skillful workers in the sense here, he used to know about the working, he used to know about the programming, he can able to edit the program, he can able to handle the situations if there is any fault conditions arised during the operating conditions on the machinery. So he should be aware of the multiple things in operating at these machineries. So by decreasing by this 100 members చేయగలిగిన work మొత్తం 25 members మాత్రమే will be sufficient for exercising. But skillful kind of agitations or points should be highlighted by that particular worker. Next thing it is increasing in the productivity. So machinery completely 80% to 90% of the entire production, if it has been given ownership to the machinery and exercising by this only the 10% to 25% of the labor within the 8 hours of shift will be increasing towards this 1,500 products than in the human power, that 100 human power develops only the 1,000 products. So here decreasing of the human power, that's a greater effect. It has been clearly given in the form of a hit here. And how in the within the industry the work agitation will be taking place. See within this particular diagram which is displayed in the screen, by the robotic devices which are working with the pneumatic power supply here with the PLC constraints. So PLC in the sense programmable logical controllers, and that will highlight the entire working scenario by activating n number of links within the robots. So these are the robots which are working with the programming, and the programming is given by this PLCs, programmable logical controllers, where the programming system or set of instructions are being given to these robots indeed to energize particular links and its end effectors upon fitting, observing, painting, dimensions, measuring, etc. So this a greater advanced technology, or there's a greater advantage to complete the work within the less time period. So here in the science fiction, that it's an open fact within the industrial sectors when compared to the past 15 years, 50 years, sorry, 50 years, the technology has been developed from complete human beings involvement to the robotic involvement as it is. And the next scenario it is the involvement of this artificial intelligence within the robots and taking the self decisions based upon the situations that are being arised at that particular situation spontaneously. That should be happen so in the industrial sectors or in any of the sector, medical related, industries, chemical industries related, and research oriented. And that particular, even that research is being progressed for the implementation to the presently existing robots. Almost it's in the testing process presently. So Pathakala Padatlo, then only the laborer is doing the work for fitting and painting, spray painting, etc. But it takes a 2 to 3 days of time period for spraying the entire car for change of its color. But presently, not more than 3 hours is sufficient for entire spray painting of 3 coats and even drying also. Immediately after 3 hours, you can touch that particular car. So that is the technology. See, 3 days, where the 3 days as per the human being strategy of work, and presently by the implementation of this robotic spray painting, within the 3 hours, the entire 3 coatings and even drying also will be completed, and the loading and unloading also can be done on that particular vehicle, and you can ride the vehicle on the roads. So, to that particular range, from past 50 years to present conditions, it has been implemented within the marketing sector. Only and even in order to increase the quantity, see here, this industrial robots can work 24/7. So entire the weekdays it can be worked without any halting, and even in the case of human beings, in the sense those shift timings changing and rest for the human beings is necessary. But whereas the machine, there is no any halting conditions required for it until and unless if there is any maintenance required, ఏదైనా టూల్ బిట్ కానీ అట్లాగా ఏమన్నా డిఫెక్ట్ అయితే లింక్స్ ఓరియంటేషన్ అయిన ప్రాబ్లమ్ అయినా కానీ ప్రోగ్రామింగ్ లో డివియేషన్ ఉన్నా కానీ ఆ ప్రోగ్రామింగ్ రీసెట్ చేసేంత వరకు కూడా హాల్టింగ్ కండిషన్ లో ఉంటుంది, అండ్ రెస్ట్ ఆఫ్ ద టైమ్స్ ఇట్ విల్ బి గోయింగ్ ఆన్ వర్కింగ్. And even it will follow in process compensation or in process inspection technique అని ఉంటుంది. In process, so in process అంటే ఇక్కడ మీనింగ్ while the work is being going on, inspection also will be done. So normally what we will be doing, suppose for example we use it to manufacture a mobile parts. So let us say, let us consider the casing or screen guards. So the screen guards, it need to be prepared, the mold has to be taken, and the concerned material in the liquid phase has to be taken, and within that mold we have to induce that polymer material which is in the liquid state. That is nothing but like our casting process. So after that it will be having a particular dimensions, and the dimensions whether it has been achieved upon shrinkage or not, we will be verifying in the microscopic technology. So that is inspection process. Correct dimensions వచ్చినాయా లేదా వెరిఫై చేసుకోవడం, ప్రాసెస్ చేసేటప్పుడు చేసిన రిలేటెడ్ గా కరెక్ట్ గా డైమెన్షన్స్ అచీవ్ అయినాయా లేదా అనేది వెరిఫై చేయడం, దట్స్ అన్ అనదర్ టెక్నిక్. సో దట్ దాన్ని మనం ఏమంటున్నాము, ఇన్స్పెక్షన్ అని. సో హియర్ ప్రొడక్షన్ is separate, in process nothing but manufacturing or casting process is separate, inspection process is separate. But here in the case of this robotic technology, sensors plays a major role to act as in process compensation. Process జరుగుతూ ఉన్నప్పుడే ఇన్స్పెక్షన్ యాక్టివిటీ కూడా జరిగిపోతుంది. దట్ ఈస్ కాల్డ్ ఇన్ ప్రాసెస్ కంపెన్సేషన్. సో దానివల్ల మనకి ఏం తెలుస్తుందంటే ఇన్పుట్ కండిషన్స్ which has been given in the processing itself, it will be examined and will give the feedback to the controller, and based upon the controller will match the input given instructions and next the output performance. So if at all any deviations are existing simultaneously, the error will be identified and that error will be compensated at that particular time itself. On spot it will be rectified, those errors also. So that is the greater advantage in the case of this robotic technology. So that will clearly improve the time saving and efficiency, quality and even quantity of the manufacturing of objects. Coming to its historical agitation, there is one interesting fact behind the origin of this industrial robots. In 1917, Joseph Quebec has written a story related to the Opelec describing automobile machineries and industrial robots. And later on, his brother plays a one written story regarding Rosiums on universal robots. So here, look of these two. So industrial robots in the sense in the two-dimensional agitation, it need to be get work, and three-dimensional accessory also it need to be worked, and phase levels it need to be worked, and even three-dimensional also simultaneously need to be get worked. But his brother captured that entire two universal kinds of robots. So universal in the sense here, we all know that universal are global coordinates, or else the three-dimensional in the sense same. Okay, don't get confused now. Universal anna, global coordinates anna, three-dimensional anna, multi-coordinates anna gani simultaneously it is common. You have to keep in mind that three dimensions x, y, z simultaneously it is getting progressed. And even three parameters joints, different joints, functionalities also may be commenced in the case of this universal kinds of robots. That is either prismatic movements or rotational movements or revolutionary movements. So simultaneously, three different actions also can be done in the state of universal robots. And due to this play and drama as a drama, the term industrial robots enters into the consciousness and the scientists became popular. Nothing but research work has been done towards it, and it has been increasing day by day in the case of n number of applications such as motoring technology, welding agitations, painting agitations, casting process, mining process, and later on, German technology has been involved in this manufacturing, and 6 axis of electro mechanical industrial robots implementation came into the force. Nothing but robots are being existed, but till then it has been operated with respect to the hydro sector or else the generating capability which is provided from the external source. So German technology has been involved that giving solenoid supply to the mechanical force than the mechanical force of external source, then we will be observing the efficiency levels of mechanism in the industrial robots. Nothing but mechanism and take activating of the links and joints for our convenience of work. So electrical capability, nothing but solenoid is nothing but the electrical capability that is imparted in it. With the support of this electrical power supply, the mechanism is being taking place, and based on that, the entire task is getting progressed. So later on, the industrial growth is being increased. For spray painting, which has been utilizing additional technologies such as electro-pneumatic and electro-hydraulic technologies also utilized. Nothing but with the electrical power supply, we are being utilizing these hydro and pneumato supplies and commencing the activities. So That is the greater advantage that has been happened in the case of this historical review. And presently, the further research is being taking place for virtual kind of robots. And for that, the impartation of this artificial intelligence plays a major role. So most probably, artificial intelligence in the sense, you all know that based upon the given voice set of instructions, it need to be worked. And gestures, it need to be worked. But spontaneous decision making is lagging. So present area of research is working on it. So gestures, based upon the gestures or voice recognitions, how it will be working. So, okay, we all know that, or we are having the mobiles in our hands. If you have been given the voice recognition, it is also placing a major role in the present days. Upon clicking on that voice recorder, automatically it is getting recognized. Best example is our Google app. Directions, it is giving particular directions. And based upon this voice signals also, in the IoT basis, it is searching for different kinds of materials towards it. So for that, what is the basic inputs or working parts are existing? So sensors, controllers, and actuators plays a major role in the robots for commencement of any activities in any of the sectors. I think, but in the industrial sector, medical fields, and even for the joystickal ranges, games, etc. And this will be inequality for commencing of different movements. So 6-axis movements. So 6-axis అంటే 3-dimensional లో వచ్చేసరికి 3 to 6. మనకి 6 degrees of freedom అని చెప్పుకుంటాం. For our global coordinate system, 6 degrees of freedom will be existing. So what is meant by degrees of freedom and what's its conditions? We have all learned in the previous classes. So twisting, turning, and bending. So here the direction changes, rotations, and revolutionary concepts. Just we have gone through. Next one. Here, controller is the brain of industrial robots. So in the ముందు మీకు already ఒక example కూడా చెప్పాను. In process compensation అని చెప్పేసి. సో కాంపన్సేషన్ అంటే ఎర్రర్స్ ఏమన్నా ఉంటే ఐడెంటిఫై చేసి రెక్టిఫై చేయడం. సో ప్రొడక్షన్ జరుగుతూ ఉన్నప్పుడే ఆటోమేటికల్లీ ఇన్స్పెక్షన్ కూడా జరిగితే ఇన్పుట్ కండిషన్స్ మనం ఏవైతే ఇచ్చామో దానికి రిలేటెడ్గా వర్క్ జరిగి ఎక్కడ ఎర్రర్ వస్తుంది అనేది ఐడెంటిఫై చేసి ఇమీడియట్లీ కంట్రోలర్ విల్ గివ్ ద పర్టికులర్ డైరెక్షన్స్ టు ఎండ్ ఎఫెక్టర్. సో ఎండ్ ఎఫెక్టర్స్ కనుక టూల్స్ అయితే ద టూల్స్ విల్ కాంపన్సేట్ ది ఎర్రర్ స్పాంటేనియస్లీ. సో ఇక్కడ అక్కడి నుంచి ఫీడ్బ్యాక్ తీసుకొని ఫీడ్బ్యాక్ రిలేటెడ్గా ఇన్పుట్ కండిషన్స్ని అంటే అవుట్పుట్లో ఎంతవరకు జరిగింది అనేది తీసుకొని ఇన్పుట్ కండిషన్స్ రిలేటెడ్గా మ్యాచ్ అయిందా లేదా, లేదు అవ్వకపోతే ఎంత ఎర్రర్ ఉంది, ఆ ఎర్రర్ని కూడా ఇమీడియట్లీ వర్క్ జరుగుతున్నప్పుడే ప్రాసెస్ కాంపన్సేషన్ చేసింది. కాంపన్సేషన్ అది బట్ ఆ ఎర్రర్ని కాంపన్సేట్ చేసేసింది అని అంటే ఈ వర్క్ అంతా ఎవరు చేస్తున్నారని కంట్రోల్. దట్ కంట్రోలర్ అండ్ హెన్స్ కంట్రోలర్ ఇస్ కాల్డ్ ది బ్రెయిన్ ఆఫ్ ది ఇండస్ట్రియల్ రోబోట్స్. రైట్. నెక్స్ట్ థింగ్ ఇట్ ఈస్ the programs which will be written by the engineers and supporting softwares to be communicated. So applications ఏమేమి ఉంటాయి in industrial sector లో చూస్తున్నట్లయితే it is limiting, the table of column is limiting to the industrial range. So industrial range లో ఎక్కడ ఉన్నాయి వెల్డింగ్ కండిషన్స్ కనుక తీసుకున్నట్లయితే ఆర్క్ వెల్డింగ్, either the butt joint, lap joint, lamellar joints, etc. can be performed in the case of this arc welding process. Flux core welding, resistance welding. So resistance welding lone subparts vachesariki spot welding. Application of pressure and temperature simultaneously, and by providing the, and this can be happened in 2 different states. By providing the external source or without providing the external source. Melting and commencement of the joint at the right positions or right places. So then మనం ఏమంటామంటే fission state of welding అని ఉంటుంది, 2 states, and fusion state, fission, fusion. So we all know that fission అంటేనేమో same material upon heating zone area particular limited to particular area will be melted, and those two materials or similar materials will be getting contacted. అదే fusion అయితేనేమో fission అయితే అది fusion అయితేనేమో external material will be getting added for joining of two different materials or simultaneous materials. Okay. Next thing, material handling. So material handling in the sense moving gani, packing gani, and the injection molding plays major role here. That injection molding in the sense transferring of the material from one place to the other place. Nothing but to the heat or melted zone to different moldings already. Okay. By imparting a pressure. Okay. So here some pressure will be applied from the external source, and that can be worked out by this robotic technology. Next, packing conditions, machine loading and unloading conditions, also even machine tending, transferring materials. So best example is our conveyor belt tending, machine tending, moving the metals from one place to the another place. And coming to the other applications, the assembly agitations, so fitting, and end effectors tools and utilize. So end effectors classified into two different groups. First grippers, second tools, as we have been discussed in our class sessions. So in the other applications, by utilizing the tools composition technology, or second phase is tools, assembly plays a major role. So here assembly in the sense fitting sections jargochu, welding sections jargochu, and fitting in the sense additive materials such as couplings and screws, nuts and bolts will be utilized for assembly. Welding అయితేనేమో different types of weldings as per the situations will be utilizing the types of weldings. Second one is paintings. So spray painting, as we have been already discussed, there's some best applications. And then finally, applications of robots in the working agitations. And the material handling, spray painting robot, welding robot, ఈ మూడు వచ్చేసరికి చాలా important, which is placing a major questionnaire point of view in the examinations. So drilling, nothing but machining conditions, the machining processes, drilling, milling, reaming, etc., coating processes. Moving on to the case studies, there is nothing but the futuristic technology. So futuristic technology commanding, study on commanding industrial robots by human voice. So that is already existing in the present days. Nothing but by giving our voice signals, nothing but the best example is nothing but the recognition of human speech. So we'll be giving the commands in the form of voice instructions. Okay, Google, just give me the directions to go to some of the place such as Vijayawada Durga Temple from our space. So automatically it will trace this given voice signals, that sensor will sense the voice signals, and transducer will convert the voice signals to the electrical format, and that electrical signals in the frequency agitation will send that signals in the form of a commands by converting to the programming, and that programming will compete with respect to the controller, and controller will give the necessary actions to us. And this is the different kinds of processes. So voice detections, sensors has to be identified. Sensors identify చేసిన తర్వాత ట్రాన్స్డ్యూసర్ ట్రాన్స్ఫార్మ్ చేయాలి ఫ్రీక్వెన్సీ లెవెల్స్ కి. ఆ ఫ్రీక్వెన్సీ లెవెల్స్ అన్ని కూడా ఐఓటీ సిస్టమ్స్ కి ట్రేస్ కావాలి. ట్రేస్ అయిపోయి అవి ఎగ్జిస్టింగ్ లో ఉందా లేదా వెరిఫై, ఐఓటీ బేసిస్ ఇంటర్నెట్ ఆఫ్ థింగ్స్ లో సెర్చ్ చేసుకోవాలి క్లౌడ్ కంప్యూటర్ కి, నథింగ్ బట్ సాటిలైట్ కనెక్షన్స్ కి. అండ్ అక్కడి నుంచి ఇమీడియట్లీ ద రిట్రైవింగ్ ఆఫ్ దిస్ data to be processed in a frequent channel, nothing but మళ్ళీ రిసీవ్ చేసుకోవాలి ఐఓటీ బేసిస్ లో, అక్కడి నుంచి కన్వర్ట్ అవ్వాలి, కన్వర్ట్ అయిపోయి ఎలక్ట్రికల్ సిగ్నల్స్ రావాలి, ఎలక్ట్రికల్ సిగ్నల్స్ నుంచి డిస్ప్లేలో మనకి డిస్ప్లే లెవెల్లో 7 సెగ్మెంట్ డిస్ప్లేకి మళ్ళీ ట్రాన్స్డ్యూసర్ కన్వర్ట్ చేసి మనకు చూపించారు. సో దీస్ ఆర్ డిఫరెంట్ సెగ్మెంట్స్ ఆఫ్ ప్రాసెసెస్ that are being commenced within a fraction of seconds, which are being commencing in fraction of seconds. So previously వచ్చేసరికి మనం టైప్ చేసే వల్ల సోర్స్ ప్లేస్ డెస్టినేషన్ ప్లేస్ అట్లాగా, అండ్ ప్రెసెంట్ వచ్చేసరికి ఏమో బై గివింగ్ వాయిస్ సిగ్నల్స్ ఆటోమేటికల్లీ ఇట్ ఈస్ taking its source place and destination place, and depending upon that the results are also being identified. And this is the process converting of the human voice into text, and then will help the text commands for a robot, and due to this system will better human machine interface. Just now we have been discussed voice signals only electrical signals get convert cheyali, electrical signals text కి అయిపోవాలి, text signals నుంచి మళ్ళీ IoT basis connectivity వెళ్ళాలి, connectivity దగ్గర నుంచి మళ్ళీ సేమ్ హ్యూమన్ మెషినరీస్ కి ట్రాన్స్ఫర్ అయిపోయి how to visualize in a quality. So this should be commenced in a low process also. See here one of the best methodology example, commanding welding robot by human voice. So commencing of this welding at different places, welding activity and different joints for permanent joints, welding activity is being done by giving voice signals. See, it is connected to the controller directly, is giving voice signals through mic, and that senses and giving the signals to this controller, and controller will guide this machinery based upon the voice signals given by the human being. That will goes to the controller. This is the box of controller, and that will give the mechanical actions to the actual different actuators in the robots, and based upon that it is working. See how it will be getting worked. It's a broad setup, consists of this personal computer with soundboard. There's a soundboard and headset microphone. Microsoft SDK 5.1 software installed in the controller system, ASR system, controlling system, and speech to text translation that will be taken by the transit user. And how it is being done. So, for example, we'll be seeing the sample program. Program in the sense we all know that a set of instructions. See here, user, robot, one hello, robot, I am listening, my friend. User robot, one initializable. Next one, robot, you need to identify to access by function user, yes. Next one, the robot, your name please, nothing but opening, for its opening. So you need to give your name, nothing but in the movie of Shivaji will be opening that particular robot by voice signals itself, or else a crash system will be developed towards it if there is any personal data existing in it. Like that, it will be getting opened and starting, and a certain operation will be given to it, and step by step that operations will be confined. Nothing but arc welding, butt welding, arc welding, butt welding, lap welding, lap joint perform cheyala, T joint here, nothing but the T joint need to be commenced over here. 3 different compositions, direction compositions will be taking place. Coming to another one more application, that is oil and gas industry, which is playing a major role in the present days. Almost 80% of the crude oil we are just importing by India from Gulf countries. Gulf countries, it is 70%, 65 to 70% we are importing, and next 15 to 20% that we are importing from America, USA. So only we are having 10 to 15% within the India, nothing more than that. That's also from the offshore, that is in the seas, under the seas. Okay, so nowadays obtaining of oil and gas from resources is a challenging technique where the human cannot be entered even by utilizing the submarine technologies. There, and it is very hazardous also. There is any struck conditions has been happened over there, the oxygen levels will be getting decreased and the entire life will be getting lost by the human being. The toxic conditions will be taking place. So, if the robots has been done there, even though it has been stuck, another one more robot can be sent over there, but life expiry will not be getting taken place over there. And the safety conditions plays a big concern in the oil and gas industry because oil and gas industry, nothing but will be utilizing in some toxic conditions also. It's nothing but a fire hazard situation may be occur. And by the leakage, even for storing the stations, entire this oil and gases in the sense will be operating the conditions in cryogenic situations. So cryogenic situations in the sense negative temperatures below the 0 degrees. So to the normal atmospheric conditions, it will be getting evaporated. For example, deep to the sea level, where the oxygen need to be carried separately, as like in the normal atmospheric range, it will not be commensurate. So, leveling in Mexico, frigid region in Russia, and dusty, very much dusty in conditions also need to be taken place, such as desert environment in the Iran and Iraq. So, ఎప్పుడు చూసినా కానీ సూర్యుడు అట్లా వస్తూ ఉంటాయి, volcanoes will be getting developed over there. So to improve this efficiency, the scope of robots plays a major role because human beings in the sense they will be getting affected with their health issues. So obviously, this robots plays a major important role, which will be worked on virtual basis upon giving the voice recognitions or else the programming natures or else a set of instructions we can call a set of instructions. The working as a working scenario will be getting taken place. In the automobile industry, some of the applications in the case of this automobile industry, we are having wide range of applications mainly in this industry only. For each and every parts preparation, assembly conditions, pressing conditions, body shape conditions, painting conditions, assembly conditions, all the activities that will be getting done by the robot itself. So the CMT buildings, constructions, working. So what is meant by CMT? The CMT in the sense, it's a robot which has been developed for very much computer machinery turning towards the working base in many of the applications. So within this India, we have been taken the annual report. The utilization of this robotic technology is increasing per year to year. And most probably in Australia and Asian area, it is gradually increasing. And in rest of the areas also, it has been increasing minimally. So this is the global report where that, but when compared to other countries, Australia prefers a major place in utilizing these robots. So these are the major applications of robots utilizing in worldwide. And by this, we'll be completing this unit also, and we'll be entering into the next unit in the next class.